In this tutorial we're going to go through how to produce a working drawing for our finished product. Now, working drawing can be for a single part or for an assembly of different parts. To start off, we need to open up the Solidworks file. The top left hand side where it says file, we're going to press file and make a drawing from the part. Within this, what we want for our coursework is an A3 size for the sheet, and we're going to confirm that. On the right hand side, if the menu comes up for you, if it's available, it'll say view palette. If not, it's a fourth symbol down the right hand side, view palette. We can then look at the different views that's available. Now we're going to work at third angle projection, so what we need is the top view of what the item looks like. You can look at the different views on the left hand side and change these for wireframe depending on the needs of the drawing. We can then look at the front view, and it'll give you a range of different views as you scroll around. If I wanted to add additional views, I can go in and press the view palette and bring in the different views. So I'm going to bring in the right view. It'll stay in line with the other drawings. And what I also want is an isometric view. So isometric view. So what we can do is change some of the views now to suit with our needs. So this one I'm going to put on the appearance. For the other drawings, I'm going to change the wireframe or hidden lines so I can see where the holes are. And you can see the scale doesn't look quite right on this page, so we can change the scale under custom scale on the left hand side when clicking on the item. So at the minute this is a 1:2 scale. You can see, for example, if I was to change this to a 2:1 scale, the item would be much bigger. You'd see it in much more detail, just to ensure that the other items follow the same scale. I'm going to remove the border and this box, the text box for now, the table. Right click on sheet format and I'm going to press delete to delete that formatting. Gives me a much clearer view and let me organize the parts. What I need to produce and provide is the dimensions for this bracket. So I'm going to use smart dimension on the top left hand side, just like when we're designing our parts. We use smart dimension. We can click on two different lines or a single line and get the dimension for it. So if I click the left line and the right line, that'll give me the overall width. I can also click for an individual radius. So for example, the 8mm, this hole, and for the countersunk hole, there's a 12mm radius there. I need to ensure that the manufacturer would be able to produce this shape based on the drawings. So we look for key dimensions, ensure that they're very clear. So I'll go around, click on these key dimensions. And if we don't want to duplicate any of the dimensions, so what I can do is look at some of the dimensions from the other views, the ones that's going to be key for us. For example, this radius at the top. And what we need to see is within these dimensions we can override. So for example, the 63.79, if I was to override that and round that to the 74mm or 64mm, confirm that, it'll show us the 64mm, just to make it the realistic tolerances to work at. As you can see, I'm just working through some of the other key dimensions on here. There's also other tools at the top, like centerline for this hole that's drilled through the bracket. I can press the centerline, ensure that the centerline is clear for the manufacturer to produce. And this hole has been cut out. I'm going to go centerline, so between two lines. So to show where the hole would be. So as I work around, I'll leave the dimensions of that for now. It'll allow us to get the idea anyway. From there, what we would need to include is balloon referencing as well. So we need to start identifying the different parts if there's more than one. This will be much more important when we add in the table. So on the left hand side of the screen, we can go into alternate views. If we need to look at things like our section view, if you need a section cut away to show the inner workings for the working drawing. A detail view, so what I would need to do is, for example, this countersunk hole, I can do a zoomed in version of it. I'll make that a little bit bigger, move it to the side of the page, particularly if there's a need for dimensioning to be clear, so I can make this much clearer, showing the depth. And confirm. To insert the table, we can press our Insert, Table and General. So we're going to look for 4 columns and we'll do 5 rows for the time being. And this will depend on your own need, how many parts you have. So when I have the table open, what I can do is start double clicking, adding the titles. So I would have part number. So this is only going to be one part. I could have part to say what the part is. So I will say bracket. Material. Polished steel, for example, and the quantity to say how many of this individual part would be needed. There's a few other items that will need to be included on this working drawing. So we would need the third angle symbol, so I can go to insert and a picture, and I would need to have saved that third angle symbol. I can make it the correct size so it's clear. If, for example, you wanted to add in a logo or something else in a picture, you can add it in a similar way. Other key information that we will need is the scale that the drawing is at. So you can see the scale for the bigger drawing is 4:1. Our drawing was a 2:1, so we can do insert, annotations, and add a note. What I'll do is add a note that says the scale is 2:1. I can change the size a little bit bigger so we can see that nice and clear. For our coursework, then we would also need to have our candidate number and center number. So if I put on center number, and below that candidate number, you put in your own individual information for that, just to identify your piece of work if anything was to happen to it. So that gives us a brief rundown of what to include on the working drawing. Thank you.